Hello, it's Mara from Houseplants, New Jersey. So right now we're in my bathroom and I have 9 of these Philodendron Joepii Tissue Culture plants that we're going to be rinsing off. I just want to walk you through the steps. All right. I've already bleached out my sink. I have already sanitized everything. I'm going to put this on the tissue box. Actually, I'm going to take a couple of tissues because we're going to need them. And I want to show you what to do. I use my bathroom sink. The reason why I use my bathroom sink is because the pressure is a lot lower than in my kitchen sink. So I don't really want to just blast it. So this is a little bit softer. It's not as rough of rinsing off that gel, but it does get everything off. All right. So in this bottle here, I have 91% alcohol. I am going to sanitize the sink, which let me aim you towards. All right, so we're going to sanitize the whole sink. Even though I bleached it out, I'm still going to sanitize it with some alcohol. Then we're going to take your scissors because we're going to be cutting those bags open. So we're going to be taking those scissors and sanitizing them with the 91% alcohol. Okay. Then I'm going to be putting the plants in here. I'm going to be putting in the double shot glasses, like dessert cups, and I am going to sanitize it with some alcohol. Okay. And I'll show you how I do that later because I don't just put them in here. I'll show you how I do it later. But I put them in double shot glasses in this container here. Now I go all around the rim, making sure everything is sterilized. Now, not these plants they really don't have an immune system, okay, because they are tissue cultured. But at the same time, they were in a different environment too. They weren't in these bags when they grew. They were in a little jar. They were in like little jars in a real sterile environment. And then when they put them in the bag, they weren't in such a sterile environment, but still they have no immune system. So we want to make sure that now we want to make sure that they're sterile. Everything we're using is sterile. Okay? Now, the reason I use 91% alcohol is because it dries faster. It's pretty much it. It dries faster. I don't have to worry about it evaporates faster off of all of my surfaces. Off of this, off the sink, off of everything. So I did hear one drop though. Let's see. Oh yeah. I heard one drop. Okay. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to turn you a little bit more towards this way. We're going to put the warm water on. We're going to put the cold water on. Now we're going to make it a little bit above body temperature. Okay. We want it to be like lukewarm water. Not cold, not hot, not like a hot tub, nothing like that, but definitely lukewarm, a little above body temperature. So where you touch it, you don't feel like it's cold or hot. It's just warm. And that's what we're going to do with that. And it'll take a few minutes to do. I see people doing this with I see people rinsing off the agar gel in distilled water and everything, and I'm like, that's a lot of work. They have it in distilled water in bowls, and then they put it in a peroxide bowl, and then they put it into um, uh, a nutrient solution. I'm not doing all that. I haven't done it the two times I've done tissue culture before. So far, I've done it with 9 plants. And knock on wood, they've all lived. Thank God. But I'm not doing that with these. I'm just going to cut so this is the bag. You see they have the roots in here. They have the leaves in here. We're going to rinse off. There's a gel in here. It's almost like Jell-O. It's like clear Jell-O. So we're going to cut the bag open. I'm going to put this label off to the side because I do tape it on the side of the cup that I'm putting it in. So I'm going to wash all these off and then I'll come back to you later, but I'm going to show you. So see how there's like this agar gel on here? Let me show you. You could see that jelly material. You're going to put it under the running water and you're going to get that off of all the roots. And these little guys are much tougher than you would think. So you really want to get everything off. The leaves, the roots, everything. You don't want anything that's going to be mushy or jelly-ish, nothing. You want it all off. Squeaky clean. And yes, some of the roots might fall off, and that's absolutely fine. And some of the leaves might fall off, and that's absolutely fine too. All right, this guy, he seems to be done. This guy seems to be good. Let's check the root a little bit more. Is there anything on there? No. So this is completely, well, actually, I do see a little bit more gel on here. I'm going to lift these leaves and I'm going to rinse a little bit more on those roots here. Yep, we got it all off. All right, now we're just going to put it into that sterilized platter. Now on to the next one. And I'll see you guys when we get into the living room when we're potting them up. Okay, so I'm back from rinsing off all of my 9 Philodendron Joepii. I also put the label onto the cups. Okay, now I use fluval stratum to just root them. Some people use fluval and perlite. Some people use perlite and sphagnum. Some people just put them in soil. I'm using just fluval. Just fluval. All right. I like the black. I like that I can see the roots growing down through them. All right. These are all in pretty much a sterile environment. These are all brand new cups, not used before. All right, I just take the label that they come in. And here's another one. I just could take the label that they come in and I cut it off and I put it on with packing tape. And that's it. So I know what it is. All right. Now, oh, what I forgot. Hold on one second. A marker. Okay, so I have a magic marker here, and the date today is June 1st. So I'm going to mark that on my little cups. And so I know when I planted them. I'll probably edit all this out because it's like boring. Okay. So I did all the dates on the labels too. Normally I do them on a cup. But like I could barely see it. So this actually worked out well because I did it on the label this time so I could see the date that I did it. So now I'm just going to sterilize my hands. All right. And then I also have a roll of paper towels here. I'm just gonna angle you down so you can see all these cups here. You see my alcohol, you see the you see all the plants here. So I'm gonna take a paper towel, have my flugel stratum. I'm gonna take the spoon. I already sanitized this, but I'm gonna do it again right in front of you. All right, and then we'll rinse it off so everything is nice and sterile. Let it dry off. And that's it. Now, let it dry off. 91% alcohol. It dries off a little faster than the lower alcohol, but that's only because there's a little bit more water in there. All right, so these roots, some of them are pretty, they're mostly like pretty shallow. So what we're gonna do is, and some of them have like leaves like pretty close to the root balls. So some of those leaves I'm just gonna pull off. And I know you're gonna think I'm crazy for doing that because they grew, but they might rot out. And I really I don't feel like dealing with rot in my propagation. So I'm just gonna put them on this paper towel here. Those leaves that are too close to the root ball, because I want that root ball to go in. See, this leaf is like way too close. I'm pulling it off. This one is too close. This one here. I'm going to pull that off. There we go. Agar gel on it? No. I thought it did. I thought it had agar gel on it because some of these, you know what, let me go rinse this off again. If you see any agar gel, you have to take every precaution. All right, so you might see me get up and down if I see any agar gel that I think I see an agar gel. Sometimes it's not on there, sometimes it is, but if I think I see any and I feel like I need to rinse some more off, I absolutely will. I have no issue with that. I want the plant to succeed and I want it to live. Now, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to take every root and pull it down and get those leaves out of the way. There's some leaves in here that are just right too close to the roots. I'm pulling them off. So yeah, this one's ready to go into, I'm gonna take that root off. That looks a little black. Take that off. All right, we're good. And now we're ready to plant this plant. Let me take this leaf off too. I just don't want any rotting at all. So all these roots are ready to go into the stratum. Okay. You see that? This leaf, this root here. I'm going to pull that down. This guy is ready to go. Yeah, I pulled off, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves I pulled off. But I don't really care because I want the mature leaves. And if those leaves are going to cause those roots to rot, then what's the point of doing this in the first place? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it back in here. I'm going to take some of the flugel, fill it up halfway. And here, I'm getting it all over my floor. But I'm filling it up halfway. All right, you see that? Halfway. I got my plant that I just pulled all the roots down and leaving the leaves up. Putting this in here. I'm going to swirl it in there because some of the roots are longer than others. And then we are going to put the rest of the flugel in there. See, this root is sticking out. I need it down. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. We got one root sticking out. And I'm just going to center that a little bit more. And then I'm going to put a little more fluval in there. Center that in there. Once you put the water in, it'll weigh it down a little bit more. But you want it pretty stable without the water. All right, I usually do the fluval right to the top. And all the leaves sticking out. There we go. We got our first plant planted. Okay. I'm going to do the rest of these 9. Actually, I might do like some more in front of you. And then we'll figure it out. This guy has like really, really tiny roots. So you see this plant? Really tiny roots here. So we don't have to worry about that too much. I'm going to fill this up almost to the top with the fluval. Actually, I'm going to cut this open a little bit more. It'll be a little easier for me so I don't knock it over. Okay. So now I'm just going to put this up. One of the leaves are pretty close. We're taking that off. And this one too. I'm taking them off. Anyone that's like too close to the root ball, I'm taking off. You have to take precautions. And now all right, now we're leaving that on there. That's it. All right, we're good. You see that? That's another one. So I showed you a big long root. I showed you a short root. Okay, so I finished all 9 of the Philodendron Joepii. And I'll tell you, I took a lot of leaves off. I really did because they were below the root ball. I wanted as many roots as I could. And these were all the leaves that I took off that were even or below the roots. Okay. They will grow more leaves, but the roots you want to ensure that they have the roots. Okay. So I have a bottle of spring water here. Sometimes you get bottles of distilled water, whatever, you drink them, but I have a bottle of spring water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to water them into the fluval, and we're going to go about halfway up with the water, okay? I'm going to be putting them into these little containers here. They're like little seedling trays. So I have the seedling tray inserts. I'm not using them. I'm using the shot glasses because these guys will be staying in this shot glass area for a few months. And I want them to just not be disturbed. I want them to just stay in these shot glasses. Let me see how many I can fit into one tray. I think I could only get 6 in here, to be honest with you. I've only done 6 before. I think that's probably where we're going to be at. I love the sizzle of the fluval stratum when I pour the water over it. It's my favorite. All right, so we fill it up halfway. Oh, we might be able to get Wait, let me check that out. Hold on 1 second. I might be able to get a few more in there. Alright, hold on. Oh yeah, baby. I could get all 9 in this one tray. Not bad. Not bad at all. I thought I was going to need 2. That's pretty cool. So I'm filling them up halfway with water. And then on the lids of these, there are lights. They're seedling lights. So I'll show you that too. And I'll bring you over there. All right. So, and then they'll just stay in here, 100% humidity. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to pour some on the little paper towel on the bottom. I get my lid for the seedling tray. I'll meet you exactly where I plug in that light, and I'll show you exactly how it goes. Okay, so this is my little propagation station. I have some Monstera Bulbasaur here from Tissue Culture. I have Philodendron variegated burl marks here from Tissue Culture. And this is how well they grow. So that's why I put them in these double shot glasses. I haven't taken these out in 3 months, I guess, 2-3 months. And look at these roots. Look at how well they're doing. Those were my first propagations. Now the burl marks, all of them are getting brand new leaves in here, and they're doing great. I mean, and look at these roots. That's what I'm talking about. All we care about is the roots, because the leaves, you're going to see your big leaves later. You're not going to see them right now. The little leaves, just rip them off. Who cares? They're going to be gone anyway. And then what you care about the most are the roots, because this is what's going to keep on feeding that plant on and on and on. So anyway, I'm going to show you where I keep mine, and it's down at the bottom right here. So I have a whole propagation area. These are my Philodendron Joepii, all right? And I'm going to put a lid on here. 100% humidity. We're going to close that dome up completely. We have a seedling light. And on the bottom here, we have a heat mat. Okay, so the heat mat will keep it I guess it's like between 5 and 10 degrees warmer than the actual air, which, let me see, our air here right now is 75, so I guess it'll be like between 80 and 85. All right, degrees, which is really good for little babies. Like if they're like in a little incubator. All right, nothing will touch them. Nothing will harm them. They have no immune system yet, like I said to you before. And the light here, it's on a clock. It's on a timer. I guess I think it's 14 hours. Okay, so they'll get 14 hours of pink light, not grow light like up here, where that's a little harsher of a light. But for the pink light, it'll be a lot warmer, a lot softer of a light for these little guys here. So in a week and a half, 2 weeks, what I'll start doing is, well, in a week, I start opening the dome a little bit. Okay. And then after another few days, that's when I take them out of here and I put them into these cups, these containers. Oh, you can't say. These cups, these containers. Let me just show you. So I put them into these cups, these containers, and then I have a full on hole in here that I burn. And then it'll acclimate to the humidity, the ambient humidity, under actual grow light, not pink. Okay, so this is much softer. That's a little harsher, but it'll acclimate to the more grow light. And then I'll start poking more holes into, oops, I keep knocking over stuff here. Hold on. I knocked over my two Hoya. All right. Here we go. All right. Anyway, so I'll poke more holes into the dome of the cup. They'll acclimate to more ambient humidity, and then like in a month or so, I'll just take off the dome completely. So they're not that hard to get going. Like, I just can't believe how big these guys have grown from the time I've had them, and how much and how many new leaves they've given me. I think they gave me like 2 so far. And the new leaf that's coming in, it's going to be a lot bigger than the last one. So, I mean, the philodendron, this guy here, this variegated burl marks, I mean, this guy never stops growing. And look at the variegation on it. It's perfect. So that's why I really like tissue culture. I really love it. I think it's a lot of fun. You get to watch the plants grow. You get to watch them acclimate. And you treat them like they're babies. Like they are. They have a lot of energy. They could grow a lot faster. Like with your bigger plants, it take forever to grow a new leaf because they need a lot of energy to grow that new leaf. These guys, they grow a lot faster. It's really cool to watch. All right. So, we're going to leave these Joepiis in here, and then I am going to probably move on to some of my other tissue cultures that I got today in a little while. Have a good night. Oh, if you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. I have 54 subscribers now. I got a new subscriber yesterday. Yeah, so exciting. So, hopefully you're 55. I want to see what happens. I don't know if I get like an award or something like that on YouTube. I have no idea. But I would love for you to be 55. Thank you and have a great night.